Hey, this is Brendan, and we're going to do some more drawing today with consideration to the shapes of heads via request. And so here is, how do you say, the response to that request. We're going to start off with circles and shapes and stuff like this to, simple shapes to help design a head from scratch. And what I'm going to do for starters here is I'm going to draw a skeleton so we can have a look at the the foundation of where a head comes from. It comes from the shape of the skeleton basically, and then we can use that to break it down into simple shapes. So while I'm doing that, I would like to say some things to explain some things about the drawing process, what we're doing here, and what type of drawing that we're doing here, which is also very important to keep in consideration. So a lot of people, they're going to tell you that the best way, I should have some space between here actually, the best way to learn to draw is from life, and that is 100% true. However, we also have to dig into more of an engineering or how would you say, like just a textbook kind of situation sometimes. Reason being is, and this is not for everyone, but for me, because my goal is to be an illustrator. And this includes a lot of very useful things, some of which would be like doing fantasy art, comic books, using your imagination, and then also just having the ability to draw things that people request you to draw. So I'm more geared towards doing drawing that is practical and useful with a career, an actual career in drawing. I think a lot of people have the same goal, just in general, that you want to be able to draw whatever, just anything, just whatever you can. You want to be able to draw just everything. So in order to do that, sometimes you have to be able to break things down like an engineer into visual understanding. And that means not just studying from life all the time, but also taking some time to break things down into components and understanding how things work. So here is, I don't know why it actually looks kind of like a baby skull. Maybe I should have made the head a little bigger, but we'll just, we'll stick with that for now, good enough. And if I were to have kind of a guideline here for the top of the head and the chin, I had a previous skull which was a little better. Now from the side view we're going to do more of an oval, because you remember we have a brain encapsulated inside the head there. But we're going to come down right in the middle here is where the jaw starts, and the front of the skull, the head, you can start off with a straight line, and we'll get in a, it seems a little weird at first, but we'll get in a, you'll see what happens. We'll go into detail about that. And then what happens is the nose pops out right about here. The first thing to do is, of course, always get the eyes in there, because you want to get them, you want to know where your eyes are, they're right in the middle. And then it makes it easy to judge where the nose should be. When you have a skull, the nose is like, it seems to be like nothing basically. And then the teeth, I'm not 100% sure about some of these things. I know that the cheekbone is here, and it seems like come back like that, and the jawbone seems to come in like this. So, this should be up a little higher. Teeth can even protrude a little. So yeah, I put too much junk in here. I'll take that out. And the eye socket actually has a kind of a thing like this, but I'm not really portraying that very well. Maybe it should go like this and then come out with a cheekbone for the side view. Yeah. And there'd be a spine. I'm not sure again exactly where that is, but it's not 100% relevant to what we're doing now. That you can look up online at the Wikipedia or something like that. So here you have a foundation of what a human skull basically looks like. Not a very good one. I actually had a better one previously. Let me see if I can bring that up. Yeah, these ones here were a little bit better, because I had just looked at the skull when I was, this was some practice work I was doing. Why is this not working? Hello? Did I push a button? Okay, 1 second. I gotta figure out what this is. I'll be right back. Okay, I was on the wrong layer. I was probably erasing stuff I just did on this layer. Nope, I got lucky. Okay. So, yeah, there's these skulls. They look a little bit more realistic because I just finished doing the research for that. But I could just clean this up a little bit here. You see the skulls in there. So, you know, that's what they look like. And I'll go back to these ones for now. You look at these. They're a little more simplistic, but still gets the point across. Now, to break these down, the foundation of the head here, yeah, we have to see from the front view. This is why a lot of people usually say to start off with a circle, because as you can see, it kind of is a circle, even in this in the better one over here. You know, it's basically just a circle at the top. Maybe not a perfect circle, but fundamentally a circle. And then we're going to do a couple different things to get the jawline out. One thing is, as you can see, you just have lines that come down right here, right? So we'll do that. Make a chin, which is usually kind of flat like this, and then just tie it all together like that. In this one here, we're going to do the face, not the skull again. Then you put the eyes in. Next step is to get the eyes in there, right about the middle. And I'm just doing sketching here. This is not like with the detail of all the eyes in this. We're just seeing where do things fall into place, right? And then for the nose, you have to think, well, before that even, the space between the two eyes should be as long as the length of one eye. So this eye is this long, there's a space about the same length, and then the next eye should be obviously the same, you know, size of that eye, unless the strange eyes or something. And so the bridge of the nose will start right between the two eyes and come down about that far. You got to use your eyes for this one. I think it can really vary. You could have a person who looks like this, or you could have a person, you know, with the nose down a little bit further and a smaller mouth. That really can vary, in my opinion. I do think there's probably a rule of thumb where if you would make a line from here to here, break it up, it's probably easier to start from the bottom. You got to think you got to leave space for a chin here, and then there's a little bit of skin that comes up for your bottom lip. So if you look at it like that, I think it's pretty easy to make out. The mouth will probably be, you know, maybe about here, about there, and the nose right above it. There's just one flap of skin that goes from the bottom of your nose down to your lip. So you need, you know, a certain amount of space there. And that's that. Then we can go do a hairline, as I showed in previous video, episode 14, I believe it was. If you want to know how to do the hairline, that's in there. Ears. Remember, if you're wearing glasses, the rims of the glass should rest right on the ear, right? So it should be right about where the eye is at. That's where the top of the ear is. And it comes down here. So what I did, I was doing this before. I was actually counting how many strokes does it take to finish a completed rough sketch of a head, and the answer actually came out to about 16. Let's see. I'll do 1, 2. Well, it can differ depending on, you know, whether or not you do a chiseled jaw, or, you know, how you do this part. I could also do the jaw just like this, or some people have rounder faces and you know, softer jaws. But I'm going to assume we're using this, you know, this chiseled kind of jaw look. So we have 1 for the circle, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Erase a little bit here. Okay. And we're at 9, 10. I did this backwards. I should have done the eyes first, but, you know, I can eyeball it just for the sake of counting. That was 9, 10, and, you know, you can do 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't know why I came up with 16 last time. Anyway, 15 or 16, depending on, you know, how you do it. And he's got kind of a unibrow there, which might be true. Some people actually have unibrows. So, oh, I know I had 16 last time because I gave him a part in the hair right there. That was all. Not a big deal. And that's that. That was for the front view. Now let's look at the side view. For the side view, again, we're going to go for the longer oval kind of look, because that's what a brain looks like, and the brain is inside the skull, so you're going to have that kind of phenomenon. And then we'll come down. This one's going to be a little smaller than that, but that's okay. Chin right in the middle. Bring it down. There's usually a slant, an angle for this line here. And I'll go ahead and, God, I still get confused with this swapping back and forth. And now let's do the eyes first. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing the eyes for the side view, it's easy to think that the side view, your eyes might want to tell you it's from here to here, and then you put the eyes there, which is incorrect. It has to be from the top of the head to the bottom of the chin, that full space there. Where's the middle? Should be right about here, right? So I'll put the eyes right there. And I just have a feeling that's a little bit lower than that. I'm going to go with my feeling because that's usually correct. I might have not made my my foundation circles so good. And again, you got to play with it. Where does the mouth go? You got to leave enough space for the chin, the upper lip, and the lower lip there. And we can just erase that stuff there. Cheek comes in a little bit. Ear, starting from the eyes down to not far from the chin there. Then we can just erase these lines. And here goes the hairline, which I went over in the last video. It seems I didn't have enough space. I didn't really have a lot of space in here. That might, you know why that is? Because actually this should be a little smaller. Yeah, because for a side view, you're not going to really see that much of the length of his eye. Yeah, so that's actually not too bad like that. And then in the back area here, with consideration to the skull coming here and the spine somewhere around here, but let's not forget there's also like some muscle and maybe a little fat in there, so it doesn't really go in and down like that. It's going to come in and just wrap back a little bit like this, and I'll just do the hairline. Well, if I do it without the hairline, it'll just come in around the bottom of the skull and then go down. There's also other bones back here, such as a mastoid bone. This is definitely too long. Okay, I did make that circle because the back of the ear shouldn't be that far from the back of the head. For example, if it looked like this, obviously that's like an alien head, right? That's not normal. So you just got to use your eye and your mind sometimes and get things where it should be. I think right about here would be better. And you have the neck. Now he doesn't look perfectly human. Looks a little weird. One thing to keep in consideration from the side view is that remember here we have just teeth in here. Up here, this is where the nose would be, but you also have to include the skin, because the skin is over the bone, right? Here's where his teeth are. That means his lip is going to end here, but it's going to be popping out a little because there's the flesh of the skin for his lips is overlapping the bone area for the teeth. So the same thing's going to happen over here. Lip will come out. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit, but you get the point. And it goes in to make a lip, and then the bottom lip comes out, and then back down to the chin, and then maybe the chin will pop out a little like that. So that's a little exaggerated, but it shows you how basically that's how it works. Maybe some eyelashes in here and stuff. So you get kind of not a there's a cheap cartoony kind of character, but it shows you how with very little effort and not so much knowledge, it's not so complicated, you can make a front view and a side view of a new character. And again, our intention here is to be using the imagination to illustrate some new characters. If you want to draw somebody who looks like a particular person, well then you get their picture and you just draw them. But here we're trying to design characters, draw from the imagination, and so that means we have to use some of these tricks and tools to make it easier for us to do that. And that's pretty much it. I'm having some technical difficulties here, sorry about that. That's pretty much it for the foundation. Let's use that these simple tricks. Oh, and let me do this counting game again for the side view, just to show how easy it is. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a little erasing. 5, 6, 7, no, do that again, 7, 8, little erasing, and more erasing. We're up to 8, right? We go 9 for the ear, 10 for the hairline, and it's basically, that's about it, 10, right? But that's the head, but you still want to have you know, a little hairline in the back and maybe a neck, so it comes out to be, you know, 11 or 12, maybe even 13. And that has all of the fundamental things we need. And then you can always go into the details like the ear and the nose and the nostril, lips, and, you know, the eye details and stuff. But just get the foundation of where everything goes. That's about it. You know, somewhere between 11 or 12 strokes of a pen, and you have person. Okay, so now let's get into, that was a real simple two-dimensional way from a straight front view and a straight side view. Let's try to step it up a notch, and we'll get into more of a 3D feeling. Here, how do I explain this? I want to imagine like a sphere. Let me see if I can get a nicer circle here. Yeah, I want to imagine a sphere. So if you had a sphere here, and you know, you can see through it. It's almost like you know, like a baseball or something like that. If you have a sphere like that, that almost helps us to make a 3D foundation, three-dimensional foundation of the you know, the brain area that we want to start with. But what it actually is, it's more of like a bean. It's more of like almost like a football, or if you know, a rugby football, right? So it's a wide, almost egg-like kind of a sphere. I'll go up here and then back around like that, right? So yeah, these dotted lines are just to, you know, show the back portion of the sphere. So with this kind of egg-like, bean-like shape for a starting point, we can go ahead and do a side view to get a more of a three-dimensional thing. Now the important part to remember for this is when we go to make the jawline, we said from a perfect side view, the jawline should be right dead center there, right? And then you make, you know, your nose and your lips and all this stuff. But when we're looking at an angle, just like when you have a box, let's say, what if we draw a cube like this? And this is getting real sketchy, sorry about that. So here we have a cube like this. The center of this shape, the center of this whole shape is actually right here. But what we need is the center of this side. So you see, if I want the center of this particular side, that would actually be right about here, because from here to there and from here to there, this is where the center is. The center of the whole shape is over here, but I want to make the jaw on the center of the side. So if we imagine that this is, you know, an egg, and we're looking at it from like a 45-degree angle, the center of the side is actually going to be back here a little bit. It's not going to be right here. So let me just draw it out, and you can see what I mean with that there. We'll still do the same thing with the jaw, the front of the face. It comes straight down, but maybe around the end for the chin it'll curve just a little bit, kind of like that. I'm going to get this, yeah, just like that. And then I'll go back to that. That might be a little tricky how to get that chin in there, but I'm going to go back to that. Again, from the top of the head here, since we're on an angle on a side view, the lines might be you know, a little bit on a diagonal like this and like that. And the head is round; it wraps around like this, right? So the center where the eye should be might be right about here. And the nose is going to block some of this eye, whereas from the front view you can see both eyes perfectly. But now on the side view, the nose has a bridge to it, and it could be blocking. You know, not always. Some people have shorter or flatter nose bridges, but and also depends on the amount of angle that we have. In this area here, looking at the eye from an angle, the skull, as we could see in a previous skeleton, it actually has kind of I'm on the wrong layer. Also, it has kind of like a rim to it, a bridge to it, right around there. And I could even portray that maybe here, sort of like that. So what happens is it protrudes out just a little bit here. Am I on the wrong layer still? Yeah. I get confused with layers and stuff. And that might be more of a masculine feature in many cases. We'll do a girl next. And we'll just put an eyebrow in there. So you can see the cheek will protrude a little bit, and the top of the eye will protrude a little bit. That all has to do with both the cheekbone and also the eye socket. And so from a side view, you can see that that stuff is going to just the protrusion of it. Chin should also protrude a little bit. These things are, I think they're relatively natural. You can, if you just draw a lot of people and look at them, that's one reason why, that's where it gets important, you know, the life drawing. All these little details, it's hard to even put into words sometimes, but if you just draw, then it becomes kind of self-evident. Now I can see the skull didn't come down. Like if it were to go up here and then his neck come back there, that's obviously wrong. So, you know, you can't always just religiously follow your original guidelines. Sometimes if I need to make a change, I'll just make it go like this. Okay, and the other side of his neck, we're not going to see it like over here because it's being blocked by his chin. It would actually just pop out, like his shoulder would pop out back there. That's pretty much what would happen. And throw a hairline in there real quick. This back around the temple. I feel like I didn't have enough space here, but it looks about right. The side of his cheeks are right, yeah. Maybe the front of his, maybe his mouth is protruding a bit, so he looks a little like a monkey, but you can't always get it perfect when you're just doing a sketch. You know, like I'm drawing live here, keep in mind, and speaking at the same time I'm doing it. So, but that's you know, you can see how we got the side view there. Now let me go back to that thing I was talking about with the brain being like a bean. So his brain would be inside here, right? You'd have like inside here, you'd have two lobes. You have like the left side and the right side of the brain, and with a new layer, let me just say, if we were to put the brain, imaginary brain there, into a shoebox, the box would look like this. And just like that, right? So you can see, in order to get the side of his chin, what we needed to do was find the middle of this shoebox. So that's why the line for that chin, which over here was this line, has to come to the left a little bit, right? Because we're trying to get to this middle part of this line, and that's where we'll find the back of the chin, just like that. And so, yeah, the reason I was going to detail for that, because when you have your first circle and you're just starting here, I told you for the side view to put it dead center, right? But if you were to put it dead center here for this shape, that would be like this, right? So it's going to go over to the left a little. And sometimes you can just eyeball it, or sometimes you can draw out this, you know, sketch out that shoebox and try and find it if you want to. Whatever works for you. Okay, so let's get into, I think this is a clean layer. I'll just close this layer. And we'll do a female one from the front view and side view first. So for female, I don't want to come out with this chiseled kind of jaw like that. We're going to go, and this is not all females, of course, but to get a stereotypical, traditional, maybe on the average looking female, would normally give them more feminine features, which often basically boils down to what? It boils down to having a softer edge. So yeah, she'll have softer edges, smoother curves, and things like that. It's all very stereotypical feminine features. And eyelashes, if you really want to just, you know, cheat and make it real easy, give her these long, you know, like makeup eyelashes. And for a girl, whereas like if you had some kind of old male Mark Twain kind of character, he might have these big bushy, you know, eyebrows like that. But for a girl, again, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be a little dainty, maybe a finer line. And yeah, it just, in this case, sometimes the eyebrows just wrap around the edge of the face, and so I draw that out sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. And then I'm going to give her a boyish kind of haircut. Just draw the eyes in here as I normally do. I mean the ears. back here, as I said, from remember, even though we can't really see the edge of her chin here, but you can imagine this is about where it would be, right? The back of her chin. So the ears do not go down below the back of the chin, they're above. You can just feel your own face right now and you'll see the bottom of your chin is obviously it's down lower than the bottom of your ear. Your earlobes will be above the bottom of your chin. So that's how far down. You'll start the ears at the right where the eyes are, so in case she was wearing glasses, she can put her, rest her glasses on the top of her ears, and it stops before the chin there. Oh wait, I gotta go back a few steps to get rid of those. Yeah, okay. And I'm gonna give her a boyish hair. If her forehead is here like this, and her temples are on the side here, then the hair should kind of like this, just wrap around like that. And then I can make the part right about where that happens. And since the hair will pop out a little, it has a little width to it. It'll go over her skull. So I almost want to basically just get rid of that line and bring it out like this. And then for the bangs, the front of the hair, this is a part where I have to refer again to spaghetti. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's how I referred to it in the last hair video I did, which was episode 14. Hold on just a second. I have to get a sip of water. Okay, and I was just talking about spaghetti. Also, I just looked over where, I wanted to see where I left off at, and I was using the word bangs for the front part of the hair here. That's what this part is called. That's actually, I want to be clear in case you're European or from another English-speaking country, they would call that the fringe. But yeah, apparently in America we have this weird thing. We just call this part in the front here the bangs. I just happened to look that up in Wikipedia the other day. Apparently America is the only country that calls that the bangs, and all other English-speaking countries refer to it as the fringe. And maybe even some people in America call it the fringe as well. And so yeah, about spaghetti. If you have a bunch of noodles in the pot here and you pick up this one here, the other ones are likely to come with it, right? Because they get tangled together, and it depends on a lot of factors. Some people's hair can be thicker, some people have it thinner, sometimes people have oily hair or dry hair. In this situation, I'm just thinking she has a regular, healthy head of hair. Maybe it's as oily as it should be, but not very oily. And so it'll stick together, right? Hair will stick together in clumps. So after using a brush to pull it over in this direction, then it'll tend to stay in that direction. But it'll also have a little bit of gravity to it. You could have some loose, strands come down this way. And then also, depending on the what do we call the curliness or waviness of a hair. Some people have waviness, some people have like perfectly straight hair. So a lot of different things could happen here. That's one of those things where you really, that's where you do need to study from life again. You have to study some stuff. There could be some short strands popping up here. That happens a lot, and it's a bit too much to put in words. But on the whole, just remember it starts with your forehead line. If you pull your hair back and look in the mirror, we all have a little space for forehead here. And, how much space would that be? Well, it's usually shorter than from here to there. It's, shorter than the length of the nose, but also longer than the length of the chin. I'm not sure if there's a specific guideline for that. It might be, it looks like it's kind of like halfway from the eyebrows to the top of the head. Might be a good call, but it can also depend on whether or not she's tilting her head down, tilting it up. There can be a lot of things that happen. So I think you just got to eyeball it sometimes and get it in there. So assuming this is where it starts, and then the hair just falls down from here, and of course the barber, depending on how they cut it, it's going to end up wherever. She could even have a crazy, not crazy, yeah, maybe crazy or just more fancy hairstyle where would do something like this. Maybe the front part comes down there and then almost covers her eyes, something like this. And, just fill some stuff in. There's gonna be a little gravity here, so it might look like it's coming down. And then consider, just like these lines here, which way is it? What direction is it going to go in? Here it might come down a little. In the back it might go over a little. That can all depend on how she brushed her hair as well. So I mean, there's a lot of room for expression in there. You can do all different types of things. So that's pretty much that. I think we got all the features there using the technique. And now something else I'm going to point out here is to replicate a character. So while we're on this topic, let's try and maintain some of the features that we had for her, her front view, and put that over into a side view, which actually gets more difficult because the first time when I drew her right here, I just did whatever I felt like doing. But now if I want to make another one from a side view and make sure that it still looks like her, then I'm going to have to try and follow some rules, right? Still want to make this a little bit more rounder around here and there. And this one might come out a little smaller, that's okay. And so, yeah, because this would be in the case of where you're making a comic book, or if you just have some kind of character who needs to be drawn more than once and in different positions and stuff, then you need to know how to replicate them. See where her ears are. Well, let me, follow all my own rules here. I do break my own rules that I'm saying now. This is like, I'm kind of going back in time to a lot of the stuff that I learned, and I'm trying to share my original methods of learning all these things. But what happens in reality when I really start drawing, I might just randomly, draw the nose, the lips first, whatever comes out, and I feel comfortable with that because I've done it so many years. I can eyeball a lot of things. One thing that this is like, again, being kind of stereotypical or traditional. One thing I've noticed, and this was a pointer I got from I think a book that I read before. I think it was a Marvel How to Draw book, and to give a girl kind of a cute nose or make her look more feminine, it would have have this upward kind of look to it. It'd be going up in that direction, right about here, and that would give her a little bit of this puggy kind of nose, which can be a little cuter, and not necessarily true for all characters, but for this one, we're really going for we're driving that stereotypical ship all the way down, into we're going to sink that ship down to the ocean. With this kind of hair here, I feel like I'm not going to have it come back like that, because obviously we don't see it over here. If I were to draw her neck in, right, because we're giving her that boyish hair. So what happens here from the side view is this is what they call it. I happen to know it's I believe it's called feathering, right? They feather the hair, and what they do for that is to have all the hair kind of gets cut off short up to this point, and any hair remaining after that kind of just almost like feathers on a duck or whatever, just kind of comes down and gets real short. It's shorter and shorter like that. And so try and make her look a little more skinnier. Girls like to be skinny, don't they? Have the hair come out here. It's going to puff out in the front for obvious reasons, I think. And since we have it kind of covering her eye over there, and that's a nice thing when you're doing characters for like a comic book or something like that, when they have some kind of like this exaggerated kind of hairstyle where it's like almost covering her eyes, because that makes it makes the character more distinguishable. It makes it easier to recognize them. It gives them some character, basically. It gives them some quality that makes them stand out from the other characters, and that helps to make your job as an illustrator easier, because now you can not have to worry too much about all the perfection of making her eyes look exactly the same every time, this and that, because she just has this crazy hair, so people will notice that. And I didn't do a great job on the hair here, but maybe some more should pop out here. And this is her bangs, or the fringe, as we said before, so that'll like pop out here. And yeah, just fill in some lines, really. I don't really have anything to say about this part. I think that's pretty much it, right? She's kind of recognizable from here to there. Looks about the same. About the ears, while we're here anyway, I think if you look in the mirror, everybody knows you have kind of a thing that pops out right here. I can even draw a bigger one of the ear. Tends to be like a peanut that's a little bigger on the top. And you have this thing here. I usually start with that and go like this, because you need to maintain this earlobe space, right? And then you have this cartilage that comes up around here, and it really does fully connect all the way around there. And then this part kind of tapers off a little. It does come around here, but it seems like taper off, and almost so that the side of the cheek can almost go in here like that. And then you get one of these things. I'm not even sure, if I want to go into detail about what that is. It's you get this horseshoe little U thing in there, and this can vary with different people, different ears, but that's basically the shape that comes out. You start with your peanut, get that little thing that pops out there. I wonder if there's a name for that. It's like getting really scientific now. And then this one just follows the other line until it goes there, and you get your horseshoe, and that goes around like that. I guess you just have to study a bunch of ears, and not all ears are like that too. It's surprising. Some people have very unique. They'll have completely different things on the inside. Some people have much longer earlobes. Some people have shorter ones. Sometimes people have like their ear just goes like this down to the chin, whereas other people would have it comes down and it really makes a big lobe, comes back up, and then goes to the chin. All these different things can happen. I think that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if there was anything else I wanted to get across for how I do the head shapes. That covers pretty much all of it. We have front view, side view, how I determine the spaces from here to there, and we even did an angle view. The only other thing that I might recommend getting into is the different types of foreshortening. If you're looking at somebody from a top angle or from underneath, looking up at them, where you'd be able to see their their nostrils and stuff like this. But that's a little bit advanced, and this video is probably long enough, and I think I covered everything. If I think of anything else, I'll add it to the end, but I think for now that's probably about it, and hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, and if you made it to the end here, please give me a like, and if you like this kind of stuff, be sure to subscribe. I'll have a lot more coming out. Thank you very much, and have a good day.